Tell us about how you do this. I mean, tell us how you took, just as Joy was talking about, all the experience you had covering local issues, national issues, and you brought it to this world in which you were covering using Twitter and all sorts of tools that people didn't have 20 or 30 years ago to cover this most unusual president.
Well, I mean, the key thing about Trump, two things I think that I have learned over hard experience. One is that his MO throughout life has to find places where there are honor systems in place. People do things on the honor system. There's not exactly a law that stops you from doing something, but everybody does it one way. To find a system like that and exploit it. To do things that the honor system doesn't permit, but the law allows you to do. And then also that often he is secretive, whereby sort of dispersing the information. Often there's information out there about him, but you have to work hard to sort of connect it together. So the charity reporting, I started on that in 2016, and you realize that there was an honor system about the charities, which was that if you gave money from the Donald J. Trump Foundation, or if I gave money from the David A. Fahrenthold Foundation, people just assume that it's my money, because who would start a foundation in their own name and give someone else's money away? But that's what he did. And so people would get money from the Donald J. Trump Foundation, and they'd think, wow, Donald Trump gave me money. But no, he didn't. It was Vince McMahon's money. Vince McMahon had given almost all the money in the Donald J. Trump Foundation for reasons we still don't understand. Same with his business. There's a lot of things about business that he often would exploit. He would find an honor system where people were expecting him to behave in a certain way, and he wouldn't, and would reap advantages from that. The bigger problem for me was, I talked about how the information is so sort of widely spread, like it's out there, but it's hard to connect. The problem for me on the charity reporting is we had this list of all the things he'd ever given money to, but there was no pattern, right? Most rich people have a hospital they give to, or a disease, or a university, some theme in their giving. His was everywhere. There was the Billy Graham Ministries, there was very liberal causes in New York, and it took me a long time calling every single one of those charities to understand the pattern, which was, the pattern was him. Whenever something would advance his own interests, whenever something would help him sort of grease the wheels in a social situation, he would do it, but he wouldn't do any more than he ever had to. So I've tried to be sort of, to try to connect those things together and to try to find ways of making meaning out of what seemed like random data points. I've really tried to use social media to show people what I'm doing and also to ask people for their input. So that started with the charity reporting, saying like, I'm looking for any evidence that Trump gave money to charity. If you have a story where you heard Donald Trump give money to charity, or you think you know something, let me know and I'll run it down. And now writing about his business, we've tried to do so much to sort of like say, okay, if you know something about a Trump business, how well it's doing, if it's trying to trade off the president's name, here I am, come to me and tell me what you know.
Well,
I got to
please go ahead. Yeah.
You've just unlocked something. You'll have to take my word on this. I've been a land use lawyer for 30 years while I've also been a journalist. I know more about the Endangered Species Act and the Clean Water Act than you'll ever want to know. All developers alike, and all residential real estate developers alike. And they, as you just said, exploit honor systems that are in place until it doesn't benefit them. Mm-hmm. And I think if you actually examine other big name developers, not commercial developers, not publicly traded, not Pulte Homes, but individual developers, you're going to find the same personality type, because I've always said Donald Trump is just another developer, a big successful developer, and it's because they all do that. Mm-hmm. They all put their names on adventures and successes and charity golf tournaments that are not theirs. That's interesting, yeah. David.
And there's a reason why there haven't been other real estate developer presidents, right? Because the presidency is designed to sort of try to force you into norms. And I think one of the other things that Trump has done, and I think this is one of the reasons I worry, is he's also very good at exploiting the weaknesses of the media and the press. He understands that the media, and particularly in DC, thrives on access, so he feeds us access. He understands that television thrives on it as well. He convinced, august television programs on the Sunday shows to let him call in, which would have been unheard of, even 5 years ago. He exploits the need for access, and I think the relaxation of the tradition of getting information without it.